I wanted to talk about Destiny and Destiny 3. Well, I wanted to talk about if Destiny 3 is even a possibility, if they should make it, and if they shouldn't. There are some reasons for, there are many reasons against, but what I wanted to start with was my history with Destiny. I think I was around 13 or 14 when it first came out, and I was very, very excited. I played it for a long time the first day that I got it. I think I played it for about 10 hours. The game was so well designed and so satisfying. It had a lot of problems to begin with. It wasn't a perfect game at all by any means, but it was very well designed and so fun. And I think what Bungie does really well is the weapon design, and that initial gameplay design is kind of spot on, and that's been top tier for the entire time for both D1 and D2. It's been exceptional. It's the one thing that they've consistently nailed throughout the game's entire sort of lifespan. I feel like a lot of people, I was really into D1, and then when D2 came out, I kind of dropped off a bit. I got it day one, I played it for a couple hours, and for some reason it just didn't work for me. I can't exactly put my finger on why exactly, but there was something about it that just didn't feel great. And yeah, I put it down after 2 hours. I was like, I don't know, it's just not for me. I came back to it periodically, sort of every so often, every few years, and there were times, there were months at a time I'd get really into it. I was playing it every day, and then I would drop it for another 6 months, and that was kind of how I sort of played the game. Played D2 for a long time. Was I'd play it for a little bit, then drop it for ages, and then come back to it and be really addicted to it. And I think it was more that, every so often I would see a trailer for an update or a new expansion. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I should check that out. And then I would for a bit, and then I'd drop it again. So I was by no means a hardcore fan of the franchise, but I was invested for a long time. I think it was also because I was a solo player, and still am predominantly, and content for solo players just isn't really there. It is, but I think the game caters much more towards groups and friends, and so it became hard to stay invested when you're a solo player. That's why I think I only ever did one raid ever. I think I did Crota's End, and that's it. That was the only raid I fully completed from memory. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But obviously now there's been a lot of chat about Destiny 3, and with June 9th having been the final update and where the game's going to go from here, and there are a lot of videos about oh, Destiny 3 will happen. There are all these hints towards XYZ. And I think instead I kind of wanted to cover why they should, but also why they shouldn't make a third game. But really, starting with why they should make a third one is really the gameplay. I think the gameplay is so solid, the entire lifespan of both games, that if they were to make a third one, I could only see them improving upon the gameplay of the first and second. Does the art design and the guns and the sound effects and the sound design and the soundtrack are just amazing. I think all the way through, they're just incredible. From memory, I can think about the menu music before you even go into the game for Destiny 1. It's seared into my brain. And so I think just gameplay and game design wise, it's kind of second to none. It's done so well that I honestly, if they announced the Destiny 3, that's the thing that I'd be most excited for. To see where it sort of goes. The other thing I'd be really excited for, and I know that other people would be excited for this too, is the story and the lore. It is kind of astounding how well written some of the lore of this game is, not everything, but how incredibly well written and well thought out the lore is. It's so extensive that the other day I was watching the My Name is Bife lore video that's 10 hours long. There's so much of this game and so much story and so much lore that is so interesting and so well written, and I think it's a big reason why some players play the game. I think obviously others play for gameplay, of course, but I think the lore is very well written, and I think again it's something that I would be excited to see. Now again, from that standpoint, are they going to continue the storyline with the 9? Who knows? Let's say hypothetically, if they make a Destiny 3, will they do that? Who really knows at that point? I remember there was a discussion a while ago about, Destiny expanding beyond the Milky Way, that, they were going to go to the Andromeda Galaxy or somewhere else, and there was going to be like a whole other storyline with other species and races and things there. But obviously it would be a bit weird if they made a Destiny 3 without finishing the whole story with the 9. So yeah, what that would even look like, who knows, but I would be excited nonetheless. But also, I think one of the main reasons why they should make a third game is just like, if you look at how passionate the community is, and how passionate they have been over the past, let's say, month. It's incredible. It's really incredible to see how passionate people are about this game still. Despite all its shortcomings, despite all of the complaints, people love this game, and it means a lot to a lot of people. And honestly, I've been really shocked by how popular the game has become now in the past month because of the announcement for June 9th. So honestly, I think it would really mean a lot to the community that already exists, and I think the discussion around Destiny 2 now, I think it's getting more people invested in the game who weren't before, and so there's a possibility of expanding the player base with a third game, with that kind of announcement. And so I think for those reasons, I think it would be really great if they did make a Destiny 3. I think there's a big incentive for them, and potentially those at Sony and the other higher-ups at Bungie, to see what people have been saying for the past month, and potentially looking at that and going, yeah, there's a passion for this, there's a love for this. Maybe a third game would be a good option. I know that I just watched the Jason Schreier video about Destiny, and he kind of goes into detail about why they likely won't make a third game, how it kind of financially wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I'd recommend going and watching that video. But from what he's saying from a financial standpoint, I can understand how maybe it still wouldn't make any sense despite how passionate people are. Or have been recently, but it's something that no matter what, I still would be really excited to see. Now for why they shouldn't. So I think this is going to come as a shock to no one, but it's the monetization of the game is frankly egregious. It's awful. This free-to-play, which is really a free-to-try, but this free-to-play model, I think, is horrific. There was a really popular Astacross video a while ago about the monetization of the game, and no, it's just awful. It's just really, really awful. If you go to Steam now, or at least at the point of the recording, and you check how much it costs to get all of the expansions, to just get all of the content that is in the game right now, it's close to about £500. £500 for just the content that's in the game is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and that's not even counting cosmetics or any of the additional things, which it's this whole other conversation, right? Some people obviously are fine with it because they're just cosmetics, other people aren't. I just think it's insane. It's insane how much they've tried to monetize this game, and it's something that I've been sort of appalled by for years now. I think it's really, really awful. And it's made even worse by the whole Destiny content vault situation. The sunsetting of previous content for you to not be able to access it anymore. No, I just disagree. No, I think it's insane. I understand why it's done. I do actually get why they've had to make those decisions in the past. But if you're paying for the content, you should be able to access that content. And I know that before they were like, well, we're gonna pull it now, but then we might bring it back later. But it's like, no, I don't care. If I've paid for that content, I should be able to access that content. Now, yes, I know that some people are saying oh, who really misses the Red War? That's not really the point. You've still paid for that content. You should be able to access it. So, there's a possibility that if they were to make a Destiny 3, that they would end up just doing the same thing. I don't think they would have an incentive really to make Destiny 3 any other way, unless they learn from Destiny 2 in the sense that the player base kind of plummeted, and maybe they might learn from that and they might go about their business practice some other way. But because they're doing it and many other companies are monetizing their games in a similar way, I don't see Destiny 3 as being any different. And as a result, I think monetization is going to stay the same, and I think the content vault thing is going to stay the same as well. Another reason why I don't think they should make Destiny 3 and this is more of a personal thing for me, I don't think this is like objectively this is going to be it. I think it would feel a bit manipulative if they did. I just think it would, if they did it, it would be creating artificial hype for the game and then announcing it just after they said that they're finished updating the game. That would feel really manipulative. It would really feel like, you know, manipulating a dwindling player base that has now increased rapidly because of the announcement into believing that the game is going to die and then announcing a third game, so then there's this artificial hype there that exists. I think that would be awful. I think that'd be really manipulative. I think that'd be an awful thing to do to the player base. And so from that standpoint, I really wouldn't like it. Now, again, that's more personal for me. Maybe other people wouldn't care about that at all. But yeah, I wouldn't be happy at all. I really wouldn't if out of nowhere they were like, oh, actually, we lied. Psych. We are actually making a third game. So no, wouldn't like it at all for that reason. Will it actually happen, though? Will they actually make Destiny 3? I really don't think they will. Again, they had more misses than hits for D2. There was a dwindling player base up until the June 9th announcement. I just don't see it as being an investment that Sony or Bungie are really interested in. Again, go and watch the Jason Schreier video when it comes to the financial background about making Destiny 3. He covers it in a lot more detail than I am here, but from his arguments about it, and also with Bungie's focus on Marathon, I simply don't see Destiny 3 as being a reality, at least anytime soon. Now, if they make a Destiny 3 in like 5 to 10 years from now, maybe I could see that being the case. But for them to do it, like, let's say next year or a couple of years from now, even announcing it, no, I don't see that as a possibility. It doesn't make much sense for them to do that. And I think if they did, I think what would happen is, you know, they announce the game comes out in, let's say, 3-4 years, something like that, probably longer, and then it's a repeat of D2. And I think it would just be the same thing where, you know, there's initial interest in it and then the player base kind of drops off. I think a much longer period of time would need to take place between now and Destiny 3 for it to make kind of any sense. And honestly, look, I just think Destiny should be left alone. I don't think there should be any future expansions, no Destiny 3. Again, if I'm being honest, I would be really interested if they did announce it, but I think for myself personally, I think sometimes you just need to let things go. There doesn't need to be more of something. There doesn't need to be another sequel or another expansion. We can just cherish the memories that we have of Destiny and look back and really reminisce, but we don't need more of the same thing. You know, we can be happy with what we have. And look, Destiny 2 is fun. Again, I'm not a fan of the monetization or the sunsetting or anything like that, but it's a fun game. People are really playing it now. They're really getting into it. And I think we should just enjoy Destiny 2 for what it is now. And I don't think there needs to be any more. I think we can just leave it at that and just leave it alone. And sometimes things are better off for it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.